Gen Z's work ethic. What boomers don't get. What do the boomers don't get? They don't get that we're working our asses off 40 or more hours a week and we have nothing to show for it. We don't own a home. We can't even rent. We don't own a nice vehicle. We can't have kids because they're too expensive. We can't go on vacation. Oh, there's definitely been an uptick in the people streaming on Kick. Definitely. I won't even lie. I decided to try it out because of Techie and Asman. Yup. I was like, look, if this is going to be the next thing, if multi-streaming is going to be the next thing and possibly allow me to grow more and maybe be a full-time content creator one day for the fluffles, then I'm gonna do it. Welcome to the 21st century. People are tired of Twitch's 2-tier rule enforcement. Yeah. Yeah. It is very frustrating. Hello, Dimitri. Welcome. Welcome in. We're about to learn what boomers don't get of the Gen Z work ethic. Pardon me while I wink and drink. Wink and drink. I'm in the wrong category. You seen nothing. Y'all seen nothing. I'm in the right category on kickers, though, so that's fine. Everything's fine. Hello, Pat. How are you? People who bought their house for 100K don't understand that rent is more than their mortgage. Say it isn't so. Like, what? Okay, hold on. If you pay $3,000 a month for rent, yeah, that's literally $36,000 a year in rent. In rent. And $3,000 a month here only gets you like a 2-bedroom apartment condo. If you're looking at homes, I've seen them for like $4,000 a month. So if you're paying $4,000 a month, that's like $48,000 a year. $48,000 a year. I saw nothing. You're paying double my mortgage. Ugh. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. So let's learn. Let's learn.
If you had all the money you ever needed, would you still work?
Definitely not.
No.
Their loyalty spans are very, very short.
No.
I've been laid
Okay.
off.
I wouldn't work. I would probably do something that I love. I would still do this. Like, I would still stream. 100%. But I wouldn't work. Pat, thank you for 23 months. Thank you. I would still work. I'd get bored being at home. Yeah, like, I would still do something, but I don't know if it would be considered work. I would still stream. I would still do that. But no way in hell would I go into the office and all that stuff. Yeah, definitely. There's more to life than just working. Like, frig my life. great and fun things to do in the world rather than work a boring job. Yup. There is literally, like, go on vacation, spend time with your friends and family. Just, like, ugh, anything but work.
Off multiple times, and I'd only been at the position 3 months.
They just think my ideas are so absurd.
It comes across to me as, how do we do less work?
I think you guys are stubborn.
Because we use technology for a lot of things that we're lazy.
I'm not sure you value how hard you have to work.
What's the worst thing about my generation?
Can Gen Z and baby boomers get along in the workplace? To find out, we paired 6 strangers back to back for an unfiltered conversation about work culture.
What misconceptions do you think people have about the way your generation works?
Move to Poland, you will pay only $500 to $600 per month for a 2-bedroom apartment. What? That's so cheap. What misconceptions do you think people have about the way your generation works? Okay.
I think the easy one is Gen Zers can be seen as lazy
Yes.
or not willing to work as hard.
And that technology is doing all the work for us, which I don't think is the case.
Kind of like a get in, get out
I mean, but that's also not our fault because they're inventing this technology.
mentality of like, I'm just here to get money and I don't care about anything else. I think it's just a little bit of a pushback against like companies that ask for a lot more work for the same amount of pay.
I don't feel like Gen Zers are lazy at all. I think they're full of ambition, but it's just in a different way. It's maybe more myopic. I don't know, like,
Yeah.
not what's good for the company, but what works for me.
The boomer generation and older people tended to place more emphasis on work and position and promotions and those kinds of things.
I think the work-life balance is a little different now.
Yeah.
And we were like growing up, we were able to see that in our parents and grandparents and just how much they worked and how much stress that they were under. And I think a lot of us just don't want the pressure of that.
We, as Gen Z, have a fear of being given way too much if we express too much curiosity and intelligence, I guess. And so I understand where like our fear is with that.
I've seen that just as being female. Women feel like if they say no, that it's going to hurt their career. And so they say yes, 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 until they have way too much on their
Well, yeah, I mean, like, generally you're scared of saying no because, like, you're going to lose your job or something. So then you keep saying yes, and then you're now doing, like, 10 different things, but you're still making the same amount of money because the company won't give you a raise. This isn't a good video because it doesn't cover the fact there is legitimately a scandal about nationwide price fixing on rent right now. Huh? What is that? Oh my gosh, I live under a rock, I swear. Younger people tend to actually be more efficient with their time, in my experience. They don't need to be crazy busy to get their work done. Yeah, like, I oftentimes find myself in the office, like, I'll finish the stuff I need to do, and then I'm just sitting there. I'm just sitting there like, okay, what do I do now? There's plenty of housing supply that's going unrented and not bought, but no one can afford it. Hard work gets rewarded with more hard work. The beatings will continue until moral improves. Welcome in, Trophia! Yep. If you work hard, then they're like, oh, this person can do all this work and we don't have to pay them any more money, so let's give it all to them. And then you're stressed and you're still only making like minimum freaking wage, and that's it.
It's very important to learn when to pull back.
Probably nothing drives a boomer more crazy than when a younger person grabs the mouse or grabs their phone and says, let me do this for you.
Someone said to me, no one would expect you to know Excel as well as you do because of your age and your gender.
Really? They say that to your face?
Yeah, but it was just in fun. Gen Zers might not see that baby boomers do want to move forward with technology.
I'm sorry, okay, back to the friggin' grabbing the mouse. I can't. When someone wants me to show them how to do something on the computer and they're older or something, and then I'm sitting there like, okay, so you have to click this button right there. And like, I try to point it out to them. And then they're sitting there like, where? And I'm like, right there. And they're like, where? Where's the button? How can you not just be like, here, just let me do it? I can't. It drives me insane. My last job, my department went from 6 people to 2 people plus pay freezes. What? So they were like, oh, you 2 people just do the job of all the 6 people, but you're not getting a raise. Sometimes I feel like they are just freaking with us when they do that. You know what? Weaponized incompetence, right? It could be a little bit of weaponized incompetence there. Yes, true, very true.
Be a little more patient and understanding, like you said. Like, we grew up with this technology, and you guys, like, it came in the middle of your lives, and you've had to like adapt to it.
Do you believe loyalty exists in the corporate world?
No.
Maybe less so in this day and age. Nowadays, it very much feels like this corporate greed.
I've never felt like I needed to be loyal to a company for any reason.
Loyal.
Being loyal to a company can get you to places to an extent, like climbing up the corporate ladder or making connections or keeping the connections you've had for a really long time. I wouldn't sacrifice my own morals or my own wants and needs for a company's.
Maybe employees are now just an expendable resource to
Yup.
some of these bigger corporations.
I go back to my earlier careers, and you really felt safe all the time. And as time moved forward through the 90s and the dot-com bubble and all the other things that started to happen, it felt more and more like it was the corporations were less loyal, therefore we will be less
exactly.
I feel like Gen Z feels that so hard. I've been laid off multiple times, and I'd only been at the position 3 months. It's that Gen Z worry of being exploited.
3 months! So right when their probation was up and they would probably have to give her benefits, they were like, yep, see you later. You're fired now. We don't want to pay out the benefits. We'll just hire someone else for 3 months and then fire them. 1 person plus the manager, then it was just the manager because I found a new job? Okay. Yeah, hell no. Not gonna do the freaking job of 2 people and not get a pay raise. Fudge that.
Or cut off with no notice, that it's like, I don't want to put my everything into it.
I have felt in the past when I've had to give a name and have someone laid off that I've been disloyal to that person.
Yeah.
It's painful.
I think Gen Z looks at layoffs as a lot more of an evil. You know, why can't that company be loyal to these employees? And I think boomers look at layoffs as, we've got a business to run. If we're not solvent, if we don't get our expenses under control, we're not going to be around to allow anybody to have any jobs.
Job security is a hard and scary thing that a lot of people go through. Your job can now be taken over by AI. There is just no guarantee that your position is safe. I don't think
Loyalty is useless? Yeah, because, like, the company's not going to be loyal to you. Like they said, like, you're just expendable. They don't care. You work for a company for like 8 years. They don't give a shit. They're not paying you anymore. Like, I worked at a company for 8 years and they still paid me minimum wage. They, like, nothing. I got nothing for it. Nothing. Hello, Clutch. Welcome in. I am having a good weekend. Except for the hell that is outside right now. the literal fire. It's like, well, it's not like we don't have a fire here, but it's hot. It is really hot. The only loyalty that matters is if you have close contact to the CEO or important board member. True, maybe true. Stay for 8 years and the new hires come in making more. Exactly, Kadath. Exactly. And I actually knew for a fact that that was true because I was I was good friends with the HR lady, and it's a small business. So me and her chatted, and she would gossip with me because she would be pissed sometimes. And I knew for a fact that the new hires coming in were making more than me after 8 years. Hold on 1 second. Wait. Why did I click play? Hold on. Wait. Okay, 1 second. BRB. Hold on, guys. I will be right back. I will be about like 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I promise. BRB. I have returned. Okay. My brother wanted to show me his Pokemon cards he got. He sent some in for grading at Tag. And it was 5 cards he sent for grading with Tag. One of them came back as a 9, and the other 4 came back as Gem Mint 10. So that was awesome. That was awesome. I will probably one day send in a few of our cards for grading, but not yet. Not yet. I have to find out how I forget how much he said it is to send them in. My company is afraid to mess with me, but that's only because I handle the cash and you don't want to piss off the person who handles the cash. Damn, Dimitri. Damn. How hot? Right now it is a temperature of a real feel of 42 degrees. Yep. On a scale of snow spire to hot, how hot are we talking? Very hot. Hell. I got fired from my job a month ago because I spoke up and advocated for myself. A year before that, I got laid off despite being told how essential I am, important, needed, etc. Oh my god. Clutch, I'm sorry to hear that. Damn. I pretty much am sure I got constructively dismissed from my previous job. Meaning they intentionally kept denying me what I asked for, like they kept not giving me a raise, they wouldn't let me work from home like I asked, with the intention of me quitting so that they didn't have to pay me my severance. Which reminds me, I need to call my a lawyer. I want to call a lawyer. I need to do that. After stream. No, wait, it's the weekend. I can't. I have to wait till tomorrow. That's why my work doesn't mess with me. I know too much. I was raised to be polite and all that jazz. Otherwise, I could have nuked their whole YouTube channel since I was in charge of that. Oh. Honestly, yeah, I would have that same problem. I'd be like, I could destroy all their shit right now. But I wasn't raised that way, so I'm not going to do it. Man. I'm sorry to hear that happen to you, Clutch. Yeah, same. I prefer to be the bigger person. I know a lot of people think that being the bigger person is weak, but I'm like, I don't want to stoop to their level. Yeah, gets me to sleep at night. Exactly. I mean, true, they could sue you as well. There is that, I guess. Let me take a drink. As a fat man, I'm usually the bigger person. But unless there is a fatter man on the unless there is someone fatter, then you're not the bigger person. Real strength is rising above it all. It's easy to stoop to their level. Exactly. Exactly. That's what I always say. The real strength is not stooping to their level because, man, is it ever easy to give in to anger and all that bullshit. All right. So what question? Do you believe in loyalty? Oh, but this question's almost done. Okay, we'll move on to the next question.
Will even have the opportunity to be loyal to a company if they even wanted to. Do you think your generation has it easier than mine?
No. No, we're the ones that, walked uphill 10 miles in the snow to school.
I think as far as a career goes, I think that boomers had it a bit harder than Gen Zs. I think there was more demand on them, on their time. It was so much less flexible.
I would argue that the job market is a little bit harder now. You know, like going to college and getting a degree, it doesn't pay off as much as it used to. These entry-level jobs they can't get because they don't have the experience.
We went through a recession.
The entry-level job that you need 5 years experience for.
In
That's true.
1980 and 1981, but then we had the Great Recession in 07 and 08, and we were going, uh-oh, everybody's shutting down, there's no jobs, what are we going to do? So I think every generation goes through these waves. Right now, I'd agree the job market's a bit rough.
I do think people think that this generation has it easier because of all of the advancements, but I don't think it's easier. There's like this pressure to make 6 figures by 22 and
it's not easier in the sense of becoming independent. It's not. It's really hard, I think, these days to become independent. Did you apply online? I hate when they say that. When you ask, are you hiring? And they're like, I don't know, did you apply online? But yeah, like, when it comes to becoming independent, you know, moving out from your parents, becoming an independent adult, it is, like, a lot hard. Like, how do you become an independent adult when rent is, like, $3,000 a month, or homes are now all $1 million or more? Cars are also way more expensive, thousands. Tens of thousands of dollars, I think, even now. Like, how do you become independent like that? How? I think it can be seen as easier since the access is there to apply to any job literally ever, but also 100% of the time I've applied in person, I've gotten hired on the spot. Applying online, 3%. True. Yeah, true. Because if you think of it in the sense of like, oh, well, you guys can just go online and apply to jobs now. Yeah, well, I've applied to like 100 jobs online though, and haven't got any responses to any of them. I joined the workforce in 2005 and got my welding certificates in 2008, the year 50K manufacturing shops closed. Millennials know all about the Great Recession. I haven't seen a job you can even apply to in person for years. Yeah, I find it actually really hard now to apply in person to jobs. Because yeah, like Clutch said, you go somewhere physically with your resume and ask like, "Hey, are you hiring?" And all you get is yeah, maybe, I don't know, apply online. Look online. You're telling me out of 100, not one got back to me? I suck that bad? No, it's just you're competing with thousands of other people. And other people who will probably accept less. Corpo, why should we hire you in our corporation? Me, because you are looking for because you're looking for an employee. I don't know. Why did your last person quit? Answer me that. Applying to jobs is the reason I just stay where I'm currently at. Yeah. I hate when I look at like job listings and stuff, it gives me really bad really bad anxiety. It really gives me anxiety. They use so many big words, and the freaking description of all the job duties is massive and intimidating. I'm like, what? Yeah, what makes you want to work here? I need money. I want to work for you because money. Send out 100 resumes, get no response. Yup. Like, Indeed used to not be so bad for applying for jobs. Granted, I haven't applied in a long time, like properly. I haven't actively applied to a lot of places, but I did apply to a couple of places. Even for Jello 2, I would say within the last year or so, and then there was like no response, and I was like, what the hell? Lots of job listings now aren't even real. Aren't even for actual positions. Yeah. Yeah, it does seem that way. Yeah, some of them look like scams, and I'm like, are you actually hiring? Are you just saying you are? Be careful on sites like LinkedIn where scammers are putting up listings just to steal your information. It used to be quit a job Friday, get hired over the weekend for a new job, and start Monday. Now, who knows? I'm afraid to move out again because if I buy a home and get laid off, yeah, you're just like screwed. Yeah, it used to not be a problem finding a job. Not like a big problem. Like you wouldn't worry about being unemployed for months if you quit your job. Ideally, you find a new job before you quit, but sometimes that's not always possible. Only once did I have a job where I actually believed in and liked the mission. This was helping children in kindergarten get access to early education to learn reading, math, and science. Aww. That sounds awesome. Not sure about now, but I have used resume building services ran by ex-HR people, and I have always got many callbacks. They will make you look like a brain surgeon on paper. I heard it's better to use like a very simple looking layouts and stuff. What do they call it? Like freaking it's a resume friendly thing for when the robot scans your resume. I don't even know. But I'm like, I don't want to pay to have my resume built. I don't want to pay for that shit. I shouldn't have to. Scams are just HR judging what people are willing to accept for pay. Yes, exactly, Kadath. They're like, oh, look for the resume who is willing to accept the least amount of money and hire that person. I only applied to one place and I am stuck there for 12 years now. Damn. I mean, I would still be at the company that I worked with previously if they just freaking gave me a raise or even just let me work from home. I literally asked them, I was like, okay, well, if you don't want to give me a raise, can you at least let me work from home? And they were still like, nope, we're not comfortable with that. I was like, okay. ATS friendly. Yes. ATS friendly. That's exactly what it was. I use an extension called Simplify and it autofills job applications. What? I didn't know about any of this stuff. I'm low-key about to go even more bare bones. No dates, no bullet points, just list the jobs I've had. Want more info? Call them. Check my LinkedIn. Interview me. I'm more productive. Work from home since I don't have to pretend to be working for 8 hours. Yeah, exactly, Clutch. I felt like I could do my work better from home. Not just even just because I was just happier to have more time at home and be around the people that I want to be around. But yeah, mostly because I didn't feel like I needed to try to find something. Like, I didn't feel the need to find something to occupy my mind. I could just, do what I want. And then when I got an email request, just go and solely focus on that, get that done. And then, I don't know. For me, I felt like it was so much better than being in the office and you're just like sitting there bored out of your mind. I would prefer if when you get brought in for an interview but not accepted, the manager who interviewed you would call you to let you know they're passing on you. I dealt with having to call and getting a non-answer the last time I tried. Yeah, I've had sometimes they'll like send you an email saying they've chose other candidates. Sometimes they just don't call or anything at all. And in that case, I don't call. I just assume I wasn't picked. It also used to be one interview and you'd know right then and there. Now it's HR phone call, hiring manager interview, department manager interview, panel interview, C-level interview. Then 3 months later, getting an email saying no. Oh my god. My friend Lamb, when she got hired with the company that she's working with now, I could not. Yeah, I was mind blown by the amount of interviews. She was like, oh yeah, I did the interview and they liked me. And then, like, a couple weeks later, she'd be like, oh yeah, I just had another interview. And it went well. And now they're gonna contact me for another one. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? And then and by the end, she's like, oh yeah, I just had my 5th interview and I finally got hired. And I was like, that's too many. That's too many. I'm terrible at interviews. The interview is where I fail. I'm almost certain that I usually don't get hired because I just absolutely freeze up at the interview and I don't know what to say. Like, I just let me come in for a day on the job and demo me. Just demo me on the job and let me show you what I can do. Oh god, that was over a decade ago and that was our local Walmart. Oh. If it was Walmart, I guess that doesn't surprise me. Not to knock working retail because it's a pain in the butt, but for 10 to 15 an hour, I shouldn't be jumping through hoops. Fair. Fair. Yeah, let me take a drink. All right. I didn't get my previous experience because I suck. Let me show you why I'm fit for the job. Yep. I would prefer that. Just let me come in for a day and show you what I can do. I don't want to sit in an interview where I'm gonna freeze up, not know what to say, and then you're gonna think I'm like incompetent or something.
Graduate in 4 years and you have to do all these things while you're young, and I think that we're just always worried about not being good enough or not being on the right track.
Do you think companies owe their employees anything beyond a paycheck?
Yeah, a paycheck is great, but you're telling me I can't take a day off because I'm tired or I'm sick. Like, I think sometimes employers think that they own you and they forget that you're human. I just wish there was more of a work-life balance.
Exactly.
I think employers could aid to that by being a little bit more understanding and compassionate.
I think companies should prioritize and invest in their employees' mental health. I mean, I've heard of studies they've done in Europe where they did like a 4-day work week.
And this is the part where they're all going to be sitting there being like, oh my god, you guys are just lazy. Oh my god, just lazy. No. We have a life outside of work. We have family and friends and loved ones that we want to spend time with. Fudge us, man. We don't want to be at work all the damn time. And God forbid we want to take a mental health day to just have some time to ourselves. Like, I don't know. I don't know. As someone on disability, I both wish I could work, but also am grateful I don't have to deal with the corporate hellscape that is the current job market. Fair. Tell us about a time you had to deal with a very difficult customer. How about no, just hire me. Yeah, exactly. The job that fired me switched to no holidays off, no PTO, and sick time. It was all in the same bucket. Like, what? What? if I'm done at 6, I'm done at 6. Right? You always leave at right at 6. Yes, because that is the time that you scheduled me. You scheduled me for 9 to 5. That means I get here at 9 and I'm done at 5. Why would you complain that I leave at 5? That old guy in the glasses, I don't like him. Ugh. No holidays off, no PTO, and sick. That we get like 3 paid sick days here legally a year. And I'm like, what? So, like, you can't control getting sick. And I don't get that. So you're just supposed, like, your body is like, oh, we've had the 3 sick days now for our year. We're not allowed to get sick anymore. Not allowed. We can't get sick anymore. We've had our 3 days for the year. I love seeing those Veronica vids on TikTok where she has the perfect response to those. Yeah, I've seen those too. They're good. They are good. Like, it makes me so mad. And especially if it's an unpaid day off that you're taking, just because you want a day off, just because maybe you have family coming in town that you never get to see, or a friend, or maybe you need a mental health day, maybe you're grieving a loved one, whatever. If it's unpaid and your company is not going to have any suffering from you taking this one day off, then what the frig? Like, who cares? They get your employee gets the day off. You don't have to pay them. They're happy. Let it be. The worst thing is the job that laid me off back in 2023 was the dream job. Oh no. I'd have stayed there for the rest of my life. Benefits were paid for. They also gave pet insurance. What? Mental health, wellness days, PTO, sick days, holidays off, 2 weeks off at the end of the year. Had I not worked there, I'd have thought it was a scam. Oh, Clutch. No, that makes me so sad. That makes me so sad. I used to say all the time at this job that fired me last month, I have a family event to go to. And if they say anything like I can't, I would respond, I'm not asking. That would imply you have a say in the matter. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm not asking. I'm telling you. I have a family event and I'm going. So I won't be here. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. And then they all wonder why nobody's having babies, and they're worried that there's not going to be enough people to work in the next generation because no one's having babies. Well, you're not incentivizing family. You're not incentivizing family. You're not putting importance on family. So why would people have babies? Also, probably why I got fired. God dang it. I mean, probably, but like, no, why you shouldn't have to put work over your family. I do my job, so don't get mad. I can't even afford myself. Yeah, like if your job's getting done and you're not falling behind, nobody's having to cover for you or, do your job because you're not getting things done properly, then what's the big deal? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. 70K a year is the most I've ever made, and this was at the job that fired me. That was not enough to pay my bills, save a little bit of money, and still live at home. Yeah, 70K, yeah. Because I guess you have to take out taxes and stuff. But yeah, I did the math once, and like you freaking have to like make 100K or something. It's you have to make a lot of money to get by these days. It's sad. It's sad. And yeah, true, it does depend on where you live. It depends on where you live.
Even though they had a whole extra day that they weren't working, their productivity statistically increased.
4-day work week. Terrible idea. Terrible idea.
Why?
Working is a good thing. You know, to think that, well, how do we taper it down?
Working is a good thing, but there's a limit. Oh my. And what's wrong with a 4-day work week? What's wrong? What's wrong with a 4-day work week? 10 hours a day. It's still the same amount of time. But you're giving your employees an extra day off, which will make them happier, which will make them better workers. So what's wrong with it? Huh? Even in my city, which is pretty expensive, you would be fine on 70K a year. 87,400 was the math I did to be able to live on my own. Max out my account's retirement and save money. Okay. Yeah, like I don't have anything against working. But I don't want to be working as much as I am because I don't get time with the people that I love. Like, I'm not getting to do things that I love, that I'm not getting to enjoy the fruits of my labor. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I'm not getting to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
How do we do, it comes across to me as, how do we do less work? I don't think it's that good for society.
If I can work a 4-day work week and get just as much done as I would in a 5-day work week.
Exactly.
I would think you're a magician. If you get that done in 4
but you
days, and you tell me that you normally would have been 5 days, I'd take that 5th day and I'd say, okay, so now what could you get done? Well, you'd get done more. I don't think it's realistic to think I could do as much in 4 days as I could do in 5 days.
You can,
employers
though.
Expect you to get a lot of experience from previous jobs, and if they aren't willing to give you those experiences and throw you in the deep end, or at least teach you, mentor you a little bit, then there's not a lot to gain from that experience or that position.
Yeah, I would agree. A lot of the people I manage are entry level, and I feel like it's my job to launch them.
Yeah.
Whatever their career goals are, even if they're outside of what they're currently doing or outside the scope or whatever, I want to help them get there. And I feel like that's what employers really do owe their employees besides the paycheck.
So I'm a hard
I like
yes
this lady.
Companies owe.
I don't like this dude either. I don't like him. Frick him. What the hell? But I like the lady. I like the lady. You can get done more, which is why it takes us 5 days. I literally work circles around old boomers like that every day. Give me the mouse, old man. Yeah, you can get the same amount done in 4 days that you would in 5 days. Like I said, if you work 10 hours, 4 days, it's the same as working 8 hours, 5 days. But you get that extra day off, and then you're happier. You know, you know what I mean? We pay you, get your own benefits. Oh, okay, you own the company, do your own work. Yeah, right? Right? Oh my God, that's a good one. You own the company, do your own work. Oh my God, I love that.
More. If you look at what motivates employees, money and the paycheck are really far down on the list. You know, so for somebody to feel valued at work, to feel that they get the recognition that they deserve, not only from their boss, but from their boss's boss and their peers, is huge.
Just recognition or just making that known and nothing beyond that almost doesn't really mean much to me. I'm looking at this company.
Why do I care if my company recognize what? You recognizing me and patting me on the back and saying good job isn't going to get my bills paid. What? Well, yes, he is very out of touch. Holy shit. How do I save this as a PDF? Why do you make quadruple my salary and not know the basics? If computer skills are part of my job description, why not for you too? Yeah. I feel like the manager should know, maybe not all, but I feel like it's also not a stretch to say that the manager should know how to do all the jobs that they're managing. Like, I feel like that makes sense. Yeah, what planet is this guy from? Yeah, it does. It depends on, like, but they should maybe just know the basics. They should know the basics, like how to save something as a PDF. Managing people is a lot different than being good at a task. Yeah, true. True. That is true. It does depend on the workplace for sure. Welcome in, Eli! Welcome in! Let me take a drink. I also don't think managers are inherently more valuable, though. True. No. I mean, yeah. I mean, why would they be inherently more valuable? I don't think that's true. I feel like it would make sense to get employed at a place and rise in the ranks to know the environment, but also having managerial skills is transferable depending. Yeah, I agree with that too. Like, it's probably better to have a manager that worked their way up to that spot, because then they're kind of familiar with everything. They're familiar with how that workplace and environment is and all that stuff, as opposed to hiring someone who has never worked in your workplace before, but they have like a degree in manager or whatever whatever the heck managerial skills, but they've never worked in the workplace before.
Company, and let's say that project I did made all this money to them, like I would almost want to see like a little piece of that.
One of the challenges with money is it is so short term. So if somebody comes and says, hey, here's $100 for that project that you completed, or $1,000, whatever it is, you're pretty happy, but you're happy for about a week, and then you spent the money and you've kind of forgotten about that. I think regular recognition, where inside my boss values what I do, he or she values the contribution that I make, I think that's something that creates a whole lot more loyalty between a company and an employee. Kind of going back to our original question, do we owe those employees something more than a paycheck? I absolutely think we do, and I think they're going to come to expect it more, and I think companies and people that manage teams need to step up and deliver those things.
What motivates you more, money, passion, or stability?
The thing that
Thank you for making this company 100K. We got you this mug as a way to You'll have this mug forever to show our appreciation. Holy friggin' hell. What motivates you more, money, passion, or stability? All three. I would say all three. But what motivates me more? For me personally, I think stability. I think stability kind of, as long as I can be stable within the company but still move up. Yeah, like, because like I said, at the company that I worked with previously, I was still willing to stay there even if they didn't give me a raise, but just because I felt stable there. Like I asked to not have a raise, but instead just let me work from home. So like, yeah, I think stability. Because then you're not worried of losing and having nothing. I saved a company 5 times my salary one time on a single project and got a $5 Starbucks card. Wow. Wow. I bet you got a nice good coffee for that. Oh my gosh. If I'm stable, the money will come and the passion is clearly there because I'm stable and staying. Exactly. Yeah. I feel like stability kind of embodies both of the other ones, passion and money. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for saving us all this money. Go have a coffee on us. Yeah, you deserve it. You deserve it.
Motivates me more than anything else is seeing the people around me thrive. The passion of the people around me is what drives me.
At least at this point in my life, super easy. I'd jump to passion. I think that's the thing that from day one can be motivating to, the day they put you in the ground.
I agree to an extent. I think I want passion to be the driver, but the way that the cost of living is just so expensive, it's like I kind of have to put that aside and really just be money driven.
If I had more money, I could have a house. I feel like I could provide more for a family. I guess this is getting into kind of another topic, but I just think like my value as a man is somewhat tied to the amount of money I have. It just opens a lot of doors that I may not have access to right now.
Oh, I like this one. This is a fun question. You ready to rock?
I'm scared.
Uh-oh.
No, don't be scared. I got you.
Hold on. Before we see the question, the Gen Z guy looks so sad and defeated. Yeah, the Gen Z with the guy with the glasses, definitely. He's like, man, this guy just embodies exactly what the problem is. I want to talk about how my company treated me when I tried to help them, but that would make me heated, so I'm not. But my God, do I have stories to tell? Aw, man. I hate hearing about people getting mistreated by work. Because these companies would be nothing without the people working for them. Like, I hate it. I hate it so much. Yeah, your past company. It makes me so angry.
In the most unfiltered, uncensored way possible, what's the worst thing about my generation?
Oh, God.
Okay. This is no offense to anyone in specific. It's very hard to get through to some baby boomers. They can be very, very hard-headed, and they're not willing to acclimate to this new generation.
The ones I've interacted with don't see that other people can work differently, live their life differently, and thrive.
They just
they're very like stuck in their way. Very stuck in their way, some of them.
So absurd.
And they just
I had to answer
they refuse to open their eyes and see what the hell's going on in the world right now.
with a criticism.
It's just the amount of time in front of a screen, I would say is the worst thing.
I'm not sure
you
value how hard you have to work to get to where you want to get to.
My answer isn't to nitpick an element of something that is done differently than the way I do it. It is in the idea that I'm not convinced that the generation and the people that I'm speaking of, and again, same thing with you, I'm speaking in generality, right? Mm-hmm. Believes that they can do more, believes it's not about, that if they can find a way to take a bigger risk, that they could just fly and absolutely change everything. Because of the way they use technology and because of the things that they do. Just the beginning of that pursuit, even when it goes completely awry and completely wrong, is worth it so that you're never second guessing it and you don't leave this life with any regret.
Oh, they didn't. Oh.
Hey. How's it going?
Oh
Nice
my
to meet
gosh.
you. Nice to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
You are
Aww.
at all.
It's kind of cute.
Hello. You're so pretty.
They look like they could be mother and daughter. What the hell?
Your hair.
I assume that you're comfortable and you should focus on, these deep value things when at your age, this is kind of Maslow's hierarchy. You're looking at, but wait a second, am I going to make enough money to have a viable career? Am I going to be able to buy a house? Can I buy a engagement ring for my girlfriend?
Yeah.
And I think that, for people that are older, we need to pay attention to that.
All right, guys. Good job. That's it.
Cool.
Okay.
I like that. I enjoyed that a lot. It made a lot of engagement. This was by Nectar. You can subscribe. Did I ever mention the one time a manager told me he'd need to see my medications to believe that I had problems? What? That is very illegal. Isn't it great how freaking companies can just get away with so much shit? Wow. Like even with the friggin' shit that we're dealing with right now with Jello's company, like he's still not at work. And like it literally just made me think like you only have human rights if you can afford to defend them. Like I feel like that's what it comes down to. You only have human rights if you can afford to defend them. Otherwise, go fudge yourself. Go fudge yourself.